You ever see that scene in Scanners where the guy's head blows up? Okay, it's me. It's me. I don't have Brandon Helk with me to start the show tonight because he's at the Calgary Flames game having a good time, and I'm missing a Leaf game, I think, by streaming right now, but that's okay. Missing clan battles and World of Warships. I got nothing going on. It's good to see you all. Welcome to my channel. Joey Only, Caribou Weather Dude. This is the full version of the Comedeorological report, in which, we talk about how much the weather sucks in Canada. So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. You can leave some questions down in the comments if you want. And because I don't have Brandon here, I just need an extra minute to get set up. That's the hard part. But hopefully, hopefully no one's even here right now. So, this is the group I run. It's called Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, and it's a successful group here in British Columbia. Our mandate is to really focus on the interior of British Columbia. That's really what we try to accomplish. Beautiful day on Williams Lake. Beautiful photography. There's not a whole lot of weather stories this week, but there is some coming up. So I just want to share the link for the show. And if you see this, share it. Help me get more people to come on to what is a quality broadcast. Of course, this is the show before the show. We used to come on at 6:30, and gradually I'll show up and mingle and discuss what we're going to do when we hit 7 o'clock and Frankie shows up and we begin recording for what will become the radio and TV version of the show. But so much gold happens outside of it, we found, that we decided to start live streaming it. So I don't know if the first few minutes are always that exciting, but here we go. I'm going to share this to my feed a couple times, and that's sweet. Try to get some viewers. Yeah. Good times. So we do have Frankie showing up at 7 as per usual. I'll just share this on my own page. We are live. Hilding Donaldson has entered the room. Excellent. So anyways, I got lots of stuff to show you. And we are coming into a snowy pattern here in BC. We're a little delayed here. Here we go. A little delayed. Coming back into, there's some good flow from the Pacific, and colder air is coming down with it. And that should bring us into a few days of snow and things like that. You there, Hilding?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad.
I got some good drought news right here. There you go. See this? We'll go right to the beginning again. Watch. Here's the beginning. Here's been us. Nice weather, nice weather. Here comes snow, rain, sorta. Here that low pressure is going to pull the cold down. So we're going to have a few days of weather in British Columbia. We're getting back into a bit of a pattern, man. So this is good news. This is really good news. We could talk about all this. Maybe I'll just wait for a minute. No, we'll talk about all this because look, we do have already this evening, Friday until noon, snowfall warning. Pacific frontal system, it's not too far from where Hilding is. Heavy snow will taper off to showers early Friday. I did that thing where I didn't eat before we came here again, Hilding. I'm terrible for it. So we do have dust advisories because it's been very clear, and high pressure keeps a lot of the dirty air down. Wind gusts of 70 kilometers and winter storm watch. Look at that up there by around Great Slave Lake. Conditions will improve Saturday. So that is happening. Arviat, blizzard warning, 60 kilometer an hour winds. Blizzard warnings are issued when widespread visibilities of 400 meters or less are expected for at least 6 hours. So that's going on up there. Close to Joe Stover, extreme cold warning, 40 to 45 below up north. Ouch. 52 overnight wind chill values. And in Nukjuak, Very, very cold weather. Very cold weather up there. And heading a little bit more to the east, we go to Thunder Bay, Ontario. Temperatures are forecast to fall rapidly. Flash freeze warning. That cold air is coming down. It's pushing east and pushing south. Snow squall warnings in Manitouwadge and Hornpain, Ontario. Snow squall along a sharp cold front is expected to move through the region. Gogama, Folliot, snow squall watch. Down in southern Ontario, fog advisory. Let's go over to Quebec. Flash freeze warning. The cold is coming down there. Extreme cold warning even in Waskaganish. Wind chill values of minus 38. Over in Nova Scotia, where Frankie is, they got a special weather statement. Total rainfall is 25 to 50 millimeters. Wind gusts 70 to 90 kilometers an hour. Most of Nova Scotia. Notably, Cape Breton and Prince Edward Island, 20 to 40 millimeter rainfall going on there. Have a look over at freezing rain warnings in Newfoundland. Oh, things are bouncing around. Things are bouncing around. And you can maybe let them know that we are on if you want in the chat, Hilding. That would be super helpful right now. Oh, here's pivotal weather. I love this map. So we can see here that cold sweeping down through the east. There's our storm heading up into Nova Scotia and over to Newfoundland, as we've seen. Coming into Sunday, some of that weather in the south coast. This guy, BC Weather Page, I don't know. He's kind of my nemesis, I think. I don't know. Maybe he is. It just seems like clickbait. And he had this. Someone sent me this. It was Martina today. I'll pull it right up. Pull it right up. BC Weather Page. A major snowstorm is possible for BC South Coast Monday or next Tuesday. A low pressure system slams into cool Arctic air. Snowfall amounts are unknown at this time. Unknown. Models are saying the potential there for a significant winter storm. BC Weather Page. And I don't know. I looked at the models. Maybe it could be 6 centimeters of snow could fall if the conditions line up in Abbotsford. No, there's no major winter storm coming. But yeah, we do have temperatures dipping a little bit. Most of that Arctic air is heading to the east, as we kind of seen in our look at the models or look at Environment Canada there. So Sunday, Monday, yeah, definitely could see a little snow down there. But I reckon that through most of the day, you're going to be above freezing anywhere close to. And that should well be over by Tuesday, maybe a second round into Wednesday. But we have this pattern of storms. We kind of bypass this. This will, of course, because you got all this cold. You're looking all the way up the Appalachians. What will be significant thunderstorms and tornadoes and things like that. And we do see through Quebec some of that storm coming in. So next week, Wednesday, as we start looking further and further out, there's more and more chance that these won't come to pass. But if they do, next week, Thursday, we could see some major storms through Ontario. So that's really where in Canada, the stories are all really on the east side of the country. If we look at weather stories, there's, but we could see here in Wells, I could see 10 or 15 centimeters falling on Saturday, for example. That is possible. So that would be really welcome, of course, for everybody. You know what this is, Hilding?
Which is that?
This here is fire hotspots, as reported from space on ArcGIS. So we have some pretty alarming reports that Alberta fire season has started already. That was in the news this week. And they said 52 zombie fires. Now, if you look on here in this heat map, some of these heat signatures aren't going to be fires. Like I'm sure this here in Fort Saskatchewan is a factory or something going on, or maybe there's a wood pile burning. Like I'm sure some of these in the Caribou that
Mm-hmm.
are near Williams Lake, that's up on the ridge. That's obviously not someone's property or something. Maybe it is. It's on a road, so maybe someone's pile burning something hot enough that the satellites pick up a heat signature that's worth noting. But I'm sure this guy out in the Chilcotin on this mountain, and you look at the spread of it, and we know that that's where fires were happening last year. That is most likely zombie fire continuing. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be, in the spring, a place to really look at. There's some weird signatures in here in the Caribou, but I don't think there's fires actively burning in the Caribou. I could be wrong, but uh, I'm not sure what those are. There's two different heat signatures. It could be controlled burns happening. That's
Mm-hmm.
very likely. But we do know some of these up in the piece are definitely still zombie fires. I'm sure this guy here I was looking at earlier, up by Blue Grave Creek, that stinks of fire. That's in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of nowhere, and it's a pretty good spread. And certainly, though, it looks pretty bad. But when you look at Alberta and you start guessing at what these are, I think some of these dots here are probably zombies.
Mm-hmm.
There's are probably zombies in here. Uh, so a fair bit in around the Grand Prairie area,
Mm-hmm.
notably, right? If you sort of zoom out and have a look, you're like, okay, wait, yeah, there's quite a bit of spots that some of those could be other things. But if Alberta's claiming there's 52 active fires going on right now, I could believe that looking at the heat map,
Yeah.
even though none of those signatures are that crazy. And even when you get to northern Saskatchewan, now when you couple this, I mean that's pretty suspicious looking.
Yeah, that looks worth
Keeley
burning.
Lake, and when you pair this with drought data, you start to see where that trend comes in, right?
Yeah.
So you see where those dots that are possible zombies are popping up where there's no snow, where it's very dry, and it's not just dry at 0 to 40 centimeters, but it's when you go deep down, it's dry all the way down.
Well,
Good
even if
news.
it was a controlled fire from somebody, it would be a potential to starting something because of dry conditions.
Now the good news is with some of the precipitation coming, watch what happens in Prince George Caribou. That's what's expected by Friday the 1st. So a deepening of the drought situation uh, all along the east side of the Rockies, and across that belt between Thompson, Manitoba, Fort St. John. That, anyways, it sort of deepens down, but we're hoping for an improvement in the Caribou based on the forecast we have right now. I got to move my head; it's sort of in the way. What was I just talking about? Snow levels.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll close this. We look at snow depth, and that's that wide area that has absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing going on there. So yeah, some of those fires are, puffing a little bit, puffing a little bit. Are they like getting up and doing anything? No, probably not really that much, but some improvement. We'll see. Oops, my mouse is very fussy. We'll see some improvement because obviously in the Caribou and out towards you, there's a lot of BC that's really hurting for snow. And if you go into the south, there's much of it has none in the valleys, which is somewhat, not crazy, but
Well, I've really appreciated that the last week it hasn't been above freezing very much, so none of our snow has been melting because we need it to stay there until April. But it
it
would
has
sure
been
be nice to get a lot more.
it has been nice and cool, and it looks like here's the next 3 days. So you do see us in Wells. We do get somewhere in the Caribou Mountains here is going to be some good snow. Whether we get 26 centimeters or not, I'm kind of
Yeah.
skeptical. However, I've seen 26 centimeters fall in Wells like nothing. We look at the next 5 days. Where's there new snow? So, okay, now we're into where BC weather guys talking about a major snowstorm, right? And could see some snow in Chilliwack. I don't know. Maybe a couple centimeters falls in Vancouver. I mean, are we talking major winter storm? I don't know about that. Seems like clickbait a little bit. New snow. Well, what about rain accumulation the next 5 days? Well, we can see a lot of rain's expected, right? So when you couple that, and let's go to temperature for a second here, and we'll go to Monday. And you couple that rain and snow, right? There's going to be maybe a period at night or in the morning where there could be a mix, and we'll just see is expected there, maybe an Abbotsford that time. But hey, you're already missing kind of the window of weather if this is how the storm rolls in.
Yeah.
Exactly like this. I mean, and juxtapose that with temperature, and you realize like, okay, well, by 11 a.m. everything's well above zero already. So if any snow falls, it's not lasting, and you're gonna have rain on top of it. And maybe at nighttime she'll cool off again. So we do have a bit of a dip in temperatures this week coming. We're gonna see some possibly colder air next week, but we're not the real benefit. I don't know. I don't think it's not destined to stay, because this is gonna feed warm air and weather up towards us, right? So
Yeah,
it's going to battle for a few days. So the last breath of,
frozen for deep amounts of snow.
Is it crazy to see minus 20? No, that's, if that happens, that's not extreme. I wouldn't call that a big Arctic outbreak or anything, anyways, that's kind of all I got to say so far about that. I think what I should do is just make sure everyone has the link. And by everyone,
chatting with Chris after you got the link up, maybe people missed it.
And yeah, by everyone, I don't know how many people we're actually going to get tonight, but that's okay. I just got to figure out how to do that again. Invite. We always have. It always turns more entertaining than when you think it's going to.
Oh yeah.
If you had to eat dinner, what would it be? My friend Bert asks. That's a good question. Oh, Hilding. Oh my, I gotta tell you about this. It's like fucking war in Wells these days. It's crazy.
They were saying they were accusing you of stealing somebody's firewood?
No, it's not somebody's firewood. There was a deck. There was 2 decks of firewood or logs taken out of the community forest, right? One deck of logs was taken. I don't know very much about. I've never seen the wood. I just know from word of mouth, right? So one of these decks was apparently for West Fraser, and they took it to the mill. And the other one was the sub-quality wood that was going to be a free deck of wood for people in Wells.
Yeah.
And it was put out there by the community forest. There's firewood available, everyone go help yourself, blah, blah, blah. And then it all went missing. And we're talking like a deck, like a 40 cords of wood.
And it all went missing like overnight.
So then you know what people do in small towns in the middle of winter? They sit around and go, well, who could it be? Well, it must be the guy who's had mental health problems. It must be the guy who's poor and a single dad, or we don't see him out in public much drinking at the pub. We know he is some people are, and this was in official meetings too that this came out. So I don't know how long it's been being said around town, but
Yeah.
this is a town hall where this is coming out one way or the other. Someone's saying this, and apparently didn't want to take no for an answer. Joey only must have been the one who did it. He must have something to do with it. My truck hasn't moved in 5 weeks, man,
Yeah, I know. I saw
and
your
my wood
picture.
shed is literally empty. And now I'm like, I was like, literally, I was gonna go get wood this week, and then this happens. And I'm like, if I go and get wood now, I'm sitting at the town hall talking to Auntie. I'm like, if I go get wood now, are people gonna sit there and be like, where'd Joey get wood? Like, I go to the mountain, I run my chainsaw, I fall a tree. I've been doing that for 15
Yeah,
years ever since. And sorry, new folks in town, if you don't know that one guy taking 40 cords of wood ain't easy.
it's a lot of pickup loads of wood.
I
Imagine
sus-
your pickup would have to be literally working for every day for a month.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Is it possible that a logging truck just grabbed it, thinking it was a load to go to the mill? I mean, maybe. Am I going to sit here and be like, I think it's this guy, I think it's that guy? Well, I've already heard this about these people in town. They got a firewood thing, and I heard well, that guy, he's got a drug habit. And it's like people just throw names out and speculate. But this happened um, later in this came out and was vigorously, I guess, town councilors, including Josh, who lives here. Um, Thank you for the computer help, Josh.
Yeah.
The town councilors defended me to what extent. So, but this was the same day that I came out and voiced against Barkerville what's been going on in this town, and the toxic divide is a lot deeper right now. The rot in this town is a lot deeper than
Yeah.
me being banned questionably for life from Barkerville for walking up the street to go find
Yeah.
my kids over a matter of $10. Banned for life. And I'm not the only one. Fucking Ed Coleman, who used to be the CEO, he's our mayor, is banned. So we got toxic management in Barkerville right
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I'm not going to let it go.
Right.
I pick fights. That this behavior, like, it affects my kids in the long run.
Yeah.
People, and a lot of these people, I was here long before they got here, and I'll be long here after they leave. But yeah, it ain't the same Wells right now. And if you're thinking about going to Barkerville for a vacation, don't give them your money.
No.
No, it's the toxic rot is so deep, man.
Yeah.
It's so deep. Like, how many people have left? We're talking stalwarts of this town, people who were here for 40, 50 years and worked at Barkerville and just said, I can't take it, walked out. The guy who played Billy Barker.
Yeah.
Billy Barker left. This is a toxic work environment. It's a bully culture going on in Barkerville right now.
Yeah. No, that doesn't bode good for a small community that's living off tourism to be fighting over the right person they have over it. It's going to either bring an end to it or something's going to have to change.
I wouldn't mind reading the letter Barkerville sent me when we're actually recording for TV and radio.
Yeah.
Pick fights, like, ugh, it's crazy. It's really crazy what's been going on. The waste of money, the buildings that have been damaged, the division in town, and then the punitive things that they've done. It's ever since Barkerville became a park. There were people living in Barkerville at the time it became a park, and they had to move to Wells. A lot of them, a few actually kept their place there, but they had to move to Wells. And the deal was forever, because Wells, everyone lives, their families are here and they work there. The deal was people who live in the valley walk into Barkerville for free. Always was. I've been banned for life over something that for 15 years, almost 20 years I did. So is everyone else in town. Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
Justice. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to record to the cloud. I'm glad you all are here. Good morning, Prince George. Good afternoon, Winnipeg. Hello, Kamloops and television viewers on Rogers TV. This is the Comedeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals Comedeorology. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada, and I am your host, Mr. Joey Only, up here in Wells, British Columbia. Yes, up here in the Cariboo Mountains. Yeah, it's where I am, and I'm here though with other people. We got a panel of them all. Of course, we always got the world famous Frankie McDonald on from Sydney, Nova Scotia, who's got weather stories happening there this week. And we've always had Hilding from Grassy Plains, British Columbia, an old friend of mine. Cowboy Hilding's here once again. And Chris Calais here, the meteorologist from Portland. That's everybody. You're listening to us on C4 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg. That's Prince George, Winnipeg. Kamloops 92.5 FM, CFBX, Rogers TV. All right. Is everybody ready to go? Let's go then. Good evening, Frankie. How you doing so far, buddy?
I'm doing great so far. Sydney, Nova Scotia just had 10 to 20 centimeters of snow just now. Then they got a lot of rain heading for Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday coming up. It's going to bring lots of rain this Saturday coming. And did you hear about this? Lots of rains aiming towards Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday. It's going to bring really cold air all the way down Atlanta, Georgia, all the way down South Carolina, North Carolina. It's going to bring really cold air in Ontario, Ohio, and Indiana, and Illinois, and all these places. It's going to bring warmer than average temperatures in Southern California after a big rainstorm this weekend coming. Then you got warming up in Manitoba. On Monday, it's going to be a short period of warm air on Monday. Before the snow comes and turns really cold once again. It's going to be sharp temperature drop on Monday coming up in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Then you got some really dry air in New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and California. Till more rain hitting towards California this Monday coming up. In Los Angeles, getting more rain on Monday as well. It's going to bring lots of snow in Nevada. And snow might even reach Las Vegas as well. Salt Lake City and all those places. Then it got snow heading towards Colorado and parts of New Mexico and Mexico border too. And the weather down South America, weather in South America, they're bringing lots of rain and thunderstorms all across eastern Brazil right now, all across Colombia, Ecuador, parts of Peru, parts of Bolivia, and Ecuador. And those places in northern Chile is really dry. Right now in southern Chile, it's raining in the coast areas, snow in the mountains, and lots of fires going on in Santiago, Chile. Their fall starts in March. And there's a big storm going on in Norway, Netherlands, Denmark, and all these places right now. There's a big storm in Denmark right now, Netherlands, and Germany, and France, and England right now, and Wales, Scotland, Ireland. There's a really high winds going on up around, heading towards England, France, Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Algeria, and high winds is aiming towards Libya on Sunday. Then I got a big storm hitting for France on Monday as well. It's going to intensify. It's going to hit Libya. Late next week, it's going to be stormy and normal weather up around Italy, Libya, Algeria, and all these places. And it's going to bring lots of rain and wind going on right now. And the weather all across Japan. Lots of rain going on in southern Japan. It's really cold in Sapporo, Japan. Up around places like in North Korea, South Korea, Vladivostok, Russia. It's cold outside. It's really cold. Those northern China. It's really hot in southern China. Really cold northern China. Lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, those places. Lots of showers going on in the Philippines right now during the dry season. So is Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos. They're still in the dry season right now. India's in the dry season. Tiny little showers in the forecast. Parts of India. And did you hear about this? In southern Africa, like lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Tanzania, in eastern Africa, near Kenya border, all across parts of Mozambique. It's really, really hot in South Africa right now. It's so hot there right now. It's summertime still. Last week in meteorological summer. South Africa is next week. And lots of rain thunderstorms going on in southern Congo and Angola, Kenya, and all these places. And the weather down Oceania, like Southwest Pacific, like lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in northern Australia right now. There's some low pressure system heading towards New Zealand, rain and forecast in South Island, North Island, New Zealand. And Antarctica is starting to get some darkness, and up in the Arctic starting to get some daylight.
Yeah, Frankie. Imogen has just showed up. So we now have Imogen Cookie Bailey down there in Victoria. Good to see her.
I just did a latest video on the YouTube about my forecast for Eastern Africa.
I'm just setting up your video segment. So we do have Imogen just showed up, and we don't have Brandon tonight. So no Brandon Hauk.
Because Brandon broke Spain into plane.
Well, he's in Calgary right now. And he's got a Calgary Flames jersey on, and he's sitting. I think I have a picture here of him. Do we? No, it's on his page. Him and his dad are at the Flames and Bruins game or something to that effect. Anyways, no Brandon this week. It's a terrible tragedy because we love having Brandon. We're gonna have to all work a little harder to be weather-like and charming and funny and special like Brandon so often is. So does everybody want to see Frankie's video?
Yes.
Okay, I got her lined up. Okay. 1 second here. Here we go. This is Frankie's new video, thunderstorms with heavy rain to hit Tanzania on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. That's tomorrow, isn't it? Or is that today?
Today.
It's today. Hey, happy 6-month birthday, dog.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live from Sydney, Nova Scotia. A lot of rain and thunderstorms will continue in Tanzania, Africa on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2024. It's going to bring a lot of rain and thunderstorms that will cause lots of flooding, mudslides, landslides near Kenya border. It's going to bring a lot of rain and thunderstorms in Tanzania, Africa. It's in Eastern Africa and near the Kenya border. It's going to bring a lot of thunderstorms close to Mozambique. It's going to bring lots of rain and thunderstorms. Right now it's a rainy season in Tanzania, Africa. As right now, be prepared. Watch out for landslides, watch out for mudslides. And it will not be a good time to head to Tanzania, Africa because a lot of thunderstorms and rain going on right now. It's a rainy season in Tanzania, Africa as of right now. Be prepared. Watch out for floods, raincoats to keep it dry. For people living in Tanzania, Africa, be prepared, since it's going to bring more rain and thunderstorms near Kenya border as well, and near Mozambique as well. If anybody living in Tanzania, be prepared for lots of thunderstorms and heavy rain on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in it. Thunderstorms and heavy rain. Stay dry, be safe.
So big time storms in Tanzania. So a shout out to all our viewers in Tanzania. You be prepared for what happened today already.
Tanzania is Eastern Africa.
Yesterday for
the
you.
forecast far away from home.
But that's good for everyone. Just get a picture of what's happening on the other side of the world, right? It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Who's got questions for Frankie McDonald?
I have a question, but I think that the top of Kilimanjaro probably gets some pretty crazy thunder snow this time of year with those thunderstorms moving through, and freezing levels probably a little bit below the summit. The summit of Kilimanjaro is about 5,000 meters, give or take. So
Yeah,
I think
it's like walking like this for 20 kilometers.
yeah. But it's one of those ones that you can at least climb without having technical expertise. It's basically a walk up, you know. So
And one where you can, not leave your frozen carcass behind after
Yeah.
spending $80,000 to go there.
So I think it right now is not a good time to be attempting Kilimanjaro, given
Chris,
the heavy weather.
Chris Calais, meteorologist Chris Calais. So I was irked today. I was sort of talking about it in the pre-show. There's a BC weather guy there. I don't know, he's kind of a nemesis or something, I guess, of a sort. But he made this post today, and it says, a major snowstorm is possible for the BC South Coast next Monday or Tuesday as a low-pressure system slams into the cool Arctic air. Snowfall amounts are unknown at this time, but models are saying the potential is there for a significant winter snowstorm. So I just find that this particular page, it's always got sort of clickbait, no substance.
What about City of Vancouver?
Tell us, Chris, how crazy is this? I
don't think this is. I do know a meteorologist in Vancouver, but his name's Tyler Hamilton. I don't think this is him because he's a professional.
Yes.
But yeah, a major snow event. This is not really the setup for it. This is kind of just cold onshore flow coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. Pretty typical for this time of year. I feel like most of the time in February or March, we see like a week or two that's kind of low snow levels, somewhat convectively unstable, air mass that's coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. Actually, this time of year, the upper levels are at their coldest, because there's a seasonal lag between the lower levels and the upper levels. So you got, you see that more up north where you actually have the coldest month usually in February or March as you get up towards the Arctic Circle. But aloft, you also have the coldest air generally this time of year. And so some of that comes down into our area, and due to the sun angle increasing, you get, a little bit more solar radiation. You can kind of get a little bit more instability, showers, etc. This is the kind of pattern that overnight, gets us on the coast, at least, gets us maybe a quick inch of I guess, in not to use imperial units, but 2 or 3 centimeters, maybe.
Canadians know what an inch is.
Yeah. So, temperatures around, +1, +2.
They know what 5 inches is and 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah. So anyways, but this is a really good snow pattern for the Cascades and for the BC Coast Range. Potentially for parts of the BC interior, depending on if we can get that moisture to make it over the Coast Range. A little bit harder to do that up in BC because it's about 2,000 or 3,000 meters compared to a little bit lower down here. But yeah, I expect for resorts, at least in Oregon, Timberline, Mount Hood, potentially down towards like Crater Lake, Mount Bachelor, could easily pick up somewhere around a half meter of snow over the next about 10 days or so, I guess. So
I'm seeing some snowfall amounts here in Wells. We could see 20 to 30 centimeters or something in the next coming days, 3 to 5 days or whatever, and that's not crazy for you. Often February to March, we can get some significant snow. In fact, even getting, I think our average is still 78 centimeters for April or something crazy like that, our seasonal average in Wells. So
that's pretty substantial. I think Portland's seasonal average is on the order of maybe 5 or 6 centimeters. So
it's a big time. Big time.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is so it's kind of a case of not to interject here. It's a case of 1 year we'll get 10, 15, 20 centimeters, maybe even 30 centimeters. Another year we'll get, we'll have years with 0. So it kind of averages out to 3, 4, 5 centimeters.
It would be very unlikely for it to stay very long, though.
No, maybe a week once in a while if we get a big storm and then some cool air. So I hate driving in that. I hate driving in that stuff though. So freezing rain's the worst. So the sooner it's gone, the better for me. So
I know. I find what I like about up here is that we generally stay on the cold side for a good 5 months solid, right? So
yeah,
it snows, but it's light. It's easy to deal with.
Sure.
The roads aren't crap. They stay frozen. And then you get down. You drop 2,500 feet, and you come down to the bottom of Quesnel, and it's every day it's wet and everything kind of half melts. And the solar radiation. You did say that. We were having chilly days. The air is chilly, but the sun is very powerful already. So,
we made it to about 15 today, which, man, with the sun out, I know Brian Schmidt posted about it in Portland, but man, I'm definitely getting the spring vibes down here. So,
I wish. No, I think we're into some chilly nights still next week. Some very chilly nights ahead.
Yeah.
And I need to go get firewood, but I'm scared to because I might get accused of being the one responsible for 40 cords of wood going missing from our community forest.
I mean, I think it would be more logical to blame like a beaver or something. Maybe you chewed through 30 cords of wood overnight, you know?
I suspect it was probably something as innocent as a logging truck driver not knowing that one pile was supposed to stay.
Yeah.
You know, there was 2 loads. There was 1 deck of lumber that was to go to West Fraser Mill, and there was 1 deck of lumber that was to stay for the community to be used because it was a B grade. It wasn't, you know, they picked the best stuff to send to the mill, and then they put on the Wells community page, yeah, there's some firewood here, blah blah blah, and then it's just suddenly all missing. And then people are like accusing me at town hall. I wasn't there, but I'm getting it secondhand after. Oh, well, maybe it was that Joey only. I'm like, my truck hasn't moved in 5 weeks. Now, the cabin fever of this town is it's always been there. You know, the darkness of the middle of the winter where people start getting squabbly about weird stuff. But yeah, I feel like picking fights around here these days. I'll tell you more about that later. Imogen, how was your week down there? It seemed like you had a good fashion show this weekend. You've been busy.
Yeah, pretty much. I did the Fashion Splash 2024 just a couple of days ago. So that was a lot of fun. Represented some pretty cool designers, got to share the runway with a lot of very talented models. So it was super cool. Good fundraiser for the Victoria Women's Transition House. So that's what I did. And then lots of editing.
Joey, down in the United States of America, they have a higher speed limit down in the States than in Canada.
What happens if you go 1 million kilometers an hour, Frankie, on the
It'll be
Autobahn?
like finger snapped, like look.
What? Hold on, can you repeat that, Frankie?
It's like when it go like click.
Yeah, if you're going like 280,000 kilometers a second or something, you know, it's just like.
Oh, that's how that works.
That's
See,
what your car is.
I thought if you went fast enough in one direction, you just started reversing time. Isn't that how Superman did it? Went fast in one direction to push the Earth around. But you got to go real fast to get the momentum, to get the push behind that, to get that going, to get that, you know, to have that push. Is that what Frankie's trying to tell us? He's unlocked time travel? Sort of?
I think the way you do is you slingshot around the sun, you know, and
no, that's how they did it in Star Trek.
Some kind of a Klingon bird of prey thing. Going warp 9, which Klingon bird of prey is not designed to do. But if you got Montgomery Scott, you can do whatever you want.
Well, that was how they did some time travel in Star Trek, but that was also how they sort of worked out space travel, getting cheap transport to the moon, and the moon is a harsh mistress. That was science fiction from like the 40s, but they kind of worked it out to be able to do it, where you slingshot people around the moon to read the book. It was good.
That's what they still do. They slingshot and things all over the galaxy now. They're just slingshotting, or the solar system, I should say. They're slingshotting things this way and that way onto. We have close-up images of asteroids that are so fantastic.
Okay, and, astronauts whipping rocks at passing aliens is not the same thing as actual space travel. I mean, they got close-up photos of actual asteroids. Like this is an asteroid floating around out there in the middle of nowhere, and but every photo you've ever seen of a UFO of the aliens looks like the photo always looks like a weird spot on an old potato. You have some weird-looking potatoes, man.
You're like, look at that spot. See, there's a UFO there.
So you guys probably heard about the asteroid that was supposed to pass close to Earth. Was that today? I think it was Thursday, February 22nd. It's the size of 6 Indian peacocks. So, you know, not only are we not using metric or imperial, we're now measuring asteroids in terms of peacocks.
You guys really, really are averse to the metric system.
And is this a female peahen, or is this an actual male peacock with his feathers like entirely showing, you know? Because the size difference is huge. So if you've seen a peacock.
It really is. So, a peahen is a chicken size, but a full exploded peacock is...
Yeah. Where does America get
version to metric?
these weights and measures from? Like the Bible or...
Well, the more disturbing thing is this was apparently on a NASA website. So like, this is disturbing on multiple levels. This is NASA. These are people that we're entrusting with space missions. I mean, besides SpaceX, but like,
No, okay, you have to understand what they're trying to do, though. What they're trying to do is appeal to America, who's just by and large, unless you say it's 6 Indian peacocks, to be like, it's 87 hamburgers wide. And they'd be like, oh yeah.
So when I lived in Utah,
you're trying to get them interested in science. You got to speak their language.
Exactly. When I was in Utah, I think it was maybe circa 2009. We had a big bolide meteor that came down and exploded probably about midnight one night out in the West Desert, and it was visible over probably most of the Western United States. But it was the size of apparently a washing machine. So picture, maybe 3 foot by 4 foot by, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet. And
like an industrial washing machine, or just an average one, like a household washing machine?
I guess just an average, but like, man, it lit up. It was like noonday. People caught it on like their dash cams and their Ring cameras or whatnot, or whatever they had. I missed it because I was playing Mario Kart against a buddy of mine, and we were just freaking playing, and we saw this big bright flash into the room, and we just thought it was some car headlights, shining into our house. But yeah, so I missed like arguably the coolest, celestial phenomenon in my lifetime.
Did you ever hear the story of
Mario
Hamilton?
Mario Kart, yeah.
You missed aliens for Mario Kart, and it was compared to a washing machine.
There you go.
Did you ever hear the story of Ruth Hamilton? Have you ever? Is anyone familiar with the story of Ruth Hamilton? She's this British Columbia woman who was in her bed, sleeping, and a meteorite crashed through the house and hit her.
Jeez, did she survive?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have an article right here. Cosmic rock hurtled through space and time and landed in Ruth Hamilton's bed, a 470 million year old rock. It's pretty big, actually. It's a good sized rock. And the house, broke the fall of it. And this was in Golden, British Columbia on October 3rd. What year was it? 2021, I think it was. Yes. So
Wow.
She's a 66-year-old woman, and she's in Golden, BC there, and an exploding sound, and her ceiling broke, and there was a 911 officer came and finally told her, I think you have a meteorite in your bed. Yeah.
Uninvited visitor there. Yeah.
So that's space. Yeah, that was quite the story when it came out.
Well, I think that put Golden on the map, huh?
It's a very lovely place, Golden, BC.
Yeah. We know Golden, Colorado got put on the map thanks to Coors. So if you're a fan of Coors, that's from Golden, Colorado.
I guess insurance covered it, so that's nice. That's nice. And she's got a very expensive rock, a meteorite that she can sell, right? So
yeah, that probably is enough to pay off her house multiple times over, at least judging by current prices.
Are the Leafs going to win the Stanley Cup, Frankie? I think you're asking the wrong guy on the panel. Frankie, are the Leafs going to win the Stanley Cup?
They're going to try their best.
They're going to try their best. They are going to try their best. It was amazing last night watching Austin Matthews. It's the first period right now. They're playing the Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights. No score in the Leaf game, but last night it was amazing to see Austin Matthews 5 minutes into the game in Arizona, where he grew up, score his 50th goal of the season, and then shortly thereafter put in number 51. The guy's crazy, 51 goals in 54 games. I've been a Leaf fan a long time. I've never seen anything like that. Whether or not they win the Stanley Cup, I've been really enjoying the Austin Matthews era. It's been really awesome. Who's your favorite Toronto Maple Leaf, Frankie?
I remember Doug Gilmour.
Doug Gilmour. That's my all-time favorite. Austin Matthews has crept up. I think I love him now a little. He's up there with Sundin now, but it's going to be a long way to take Doug Gilmour. I mean, I have some memories of that Stanley Cup playoff run, especially in '93. Frankie, what are your thoughts on Adam Ginjo? I don't know who that is.
Adam Gidjo, he's a hockey player.
Ah.
Who is Adam Gidjo?
I don't know. Who's Adam Ginjo?
I don't know.
That's what someone is asking on the so I don't know. That was someone was asking on the panel, and I guess we don't know. We can't offer thoughts on Adam Ginjo because he does not exist. So there you go. Hilding Donaldson, how you doing out there in Grassy Plains, British Columbia?
Well, we're doing pretty good. We've been just having some nice, crispy, bright, sunny weather, but I'm really hoping we get some more precipitation. But we oftentimes get our heaviest snowfall in March, so I'm not that concerned yet. But it's getting close there, and we're not having much sign that it's coming, you know. But yeah, well, we've been having nice weather.
I was showing you before the show that we are expecting snow to come into BC, and we've been looking at the drought conditions over until about March 1st, and we see an improvement in the caribou in the Prince George region. So we are expecting an improvement in the drought conditions. That's very important. Reports this week that there's still 52 fires burning last year from Alberta. We looked at the ArcGIS maps in the pre-show on the live stream. If you on radio or TV ever want to join us for the live streams Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we gather on Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. And on the pre-show, we were showing that. So 52 fires burning. We can see some of them on ArcGIS, the hot spots. They are there. Something I've been formulating about, and Chris might have some opinions on this. I'm kind of working on looking at. I'm trying to always make forecasts of like what could fire season be like. I'm trying to figure that out always, right? That's really important to what I do as a job, and it's important to people who watch me on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers and YouTube and whatnot. That's one thing I'm good at, especially they want to know. And when we look at kind of the El Nino pattern, it seems pretty likely that we're going to come into a situation in the spring and into summer where the water is still quite warm at the equator and also quite warm in the North Pacific. So this is a little bit of an odd duck if this happens. So I'm looking back, well, when's the last time that happened? 1991. What was the summer of 1991 like in Western Canada? Now only 23,000 hectares burned in British Columbia in 1991. So I'm not ready to anyways give a full look on this, but it is possible. When we look at 1991, temperatures were down at weather stations in BC in the interior, and precipitation was up, and fire activity was low. However, we got this drought situation going on. Does the rain come in time? Do we get June rains like usual? So I still don't know how to answer those questions. But thoughts, Chris? Thoughts? I
was talking to a friend the other day, and he was like, a farmer friend here. He was like, yeah, in 22, we had almost no snow in the winter, but then we had rain throughout the summer, and we got really good crops. We had trouble getting it baled up because it wouldn't dry, but we had lots of forage. So if we get our moisture in the spring and summer, won't hurt anything. I mean, our amount of runoff we can build back up in the next few years. But what happened last summer to make us severely droughted was that we got no rain at all from April until the end of July. And the grass just didn't grow.
And looking at the drought situation, even if we have an improvement in the central interior British Columbia, that's not the case on the east side of the Rockies, where it's dry and getting worse, right? Mm-hmm. And a significant part of BC's active fires that are still left seem to be in that Peace region. That's where we expect things to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If I can kind of opine here, I think that actually we're going to probably see a pretty decent amount of rain this spring. I think we're transitioning out of the kind of a classic El Nino pattern in the Pacific. We're actually seeing some pretty decent cooling along the west coast of South America. likely going to be heading into more of a La Nina situation next winter. But I think that the atmosphere over the northern hemisphere, especially the Pacific, is going to trend much more normal as we get into the spring months. That means we're probably going to see at least some appreciable rainfall across the interior. Kind of too early to know what the summer is going to hold, but I mean, I think at this point it can only trend better. A lot of the lack of rain is due to a strong El Nino. It's kind of textbook to see to some degree that happening across especially central and northern BC and northern Alberta. As far as like the warm water in the Pacific, it's not uncharted territory, but like Joey was saying, 1991, as I recall, that was a relatively cool summer here in the Northwest. Not as cool as 93. That was a very cool summer. But, I'd expect that, we're going to see pretty typical conditions this summer across Washington and Oregon as well. Next winter, fully expect that could be a pretty pretty substantial, at least normal snowpack winter across much of BC. So this is kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel thing, I think. And we shouldn't see a worse year than last year. If anything, a better year for fires across BC.
I'm starting to feel that. I am.
This month coming up, Base Guys Studio is going to be torn apart. They'll replace with a whole new Base Guy studio.
A whole new Base Guy studio. We love Base Guy. Frankie loves Base Guy.
That means that the new Base Guy studios, and they're getting rid of the old wires in the building where Base Guy lives. They're getting rid of all of the old wires altogether, replaced with a whole new wires.
Right. I've never really had this before, but I don't know if I could make it. I don't know if I want to spend 30 more minutes having to go to the bathroom this bad.
I think we'll forgive you if you.
Does someone want to talk about something for a minute?
This is going to be 12-hour daylight, 12-hour darkness, and they trying to get next one.
Well, the equinox, so isn't it pretty much everywhere 12 hours of day and 12 hours of nights for, that day at least?
Both North Pole and South Pole.
Yes, and the equator.
And equator at the same time.
Here's one for you. So I lived in Brazil for a couple of years, but on the actual equator, there's only about a 1 hour variation in daylight between the, during the year. So like between, January and July, there's only, during the January, I think they pick up maybe 13 hours, and during July, maybe 11 hours. So I was thinking to myself, that's kind of nice, honestly, to not have to deal with, the winter gloom or extreme summer light where it's light until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I think parts of BC, you don't even get fully dark on the summer solstice. Like, I think from Prince George north, there's no astronomical twilight, which means that the sun doesn't get far enough below the horizon to have true darkness for at least a couple days out of the year. So I think they're at Grassy Plains where you're at. I think there's actual darkness, but it's pretty short during the solstice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
No,
I'm
when I
in
lived up
Victoria.
in Peace River country, it was we still had some darkness at 11 o'clock at night. But what really scared me was when I went down to Florida, and a friend of mine went to Guatemala, and he told me it was even worse there. That when it is dark at night, it is extremely dark. That night down around the equator, because they have a full 12 hours with absolutely no sunlight. And that is something to think about.
I feel like I went to Florida a few years ago, and it seemed like the twilight was pretty short. This was like August of 2019, and we were at the beach, enjoying the beach. And as soon as that sun goes down, man, it gets dark pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
We survived,
Joey,
your absence. So I don't know what that says for you as the narrator and host of this show. If we could maybe handle it without you if we had to, but we did get it for 5 minutes. So
I think it's better the less I talk.
Yeah, we need Brandon. That guy's just too into hockey, man. Just really, wouldn't you want to be on the Comedeorological
It's hard to say,
report,
eh?
rather than watch hockey? I mean, come on, guys.
I mean, that's part of me was like, man, I shouldn't make a name for a show that's so hard to say that people aren't gonna be able to say it. And then I thought, like, that's actually deeply funny.
Yeah, I think honestly,
People remember it as the show that they can't friggin' pronounce.
I think initially it was the name of the show that actually drew me to like check out the show, because I was like, okay, this is a pretty unique name, and I'll give it a shot, So
Comedy plus meteorology, because the weather is funny business. It is funny business. That's a small town life. Yeah. So this week I got accused of stealing 40 cords of firewood. Guy whose truck hasn't moved. Whose woodshed's empty. Who's doesn't seem to have the enthusiasm for cutting that much wood. Like, I need to get back in shape for fire season. Okay, I get it. Like, I've been eating way too much frozen yogurt, sure. But stealing 40 cords of firewood. But what's funny is these accusations came shortly after I began to speak out about a letter from, this is Barkerville Historic Town and Park. That's Barkerville. It's just up the road here. And you see, Barkerville and Wells, they used to be like this, right? Because we've always been to. People had to leave Barkerville, come live in Wells. Back in the day, in order for Barkerville to become a park, a rule was implemented. The agreement was made that the Wells and the park, Wellsians can always go in the park. They could always bring their family, whatever. People from the valley and the park are the same thing. That's the way it's always been. We had a new CEO take over who created a hostile work environment. A lot of people quit working at Barkerville who've been there for years. I call it a bully environment, and I'm correct too. Full on. And in retribution to the people of Wells, because not only have this core of bullies there running Barkerville Historic Park, which we care about very greatly here in Wells, not only have they made the work environment toxic, but they haven't necessarily done a good job taking care of the park. So they didn't hand out contracts for snow removal of the buildings, and what happened was damage was done, over $200,000 to one building alone. And then these punitive measures come and say, well, from now on, the people of Wells have to pay to go into Barkerville. And of course, I was vocal about it. And I was saying Kate should be fired, the CEO. She's not a good person, in my books, to work for, which I don't work for. But here's the letter from Barkerville. And so what happened was I went up the street. I walked up the street to go find my kid. I found my kid. So Amanda, who's the mother of his best friend, she brought them from Williams Lake up. And the two kids there, I went out to the house hotel. I found my son. There he is. I'm talking to my son. I get surrounded by Carrie and her security troop. And you haven't paid. You have to leave the park now. And I did. I'm standing in front of my son. What am I going to do? Throw a conniption or yell and swear or whatever. I leave the park. And I spoke out immediately about the treatment because it was Barkerville Christmas. It was Christmas, Barkerville Christmas. Went up the street to go find my kid at Barkerville Christmas. Today on December 17th, you illegally entered Barkerville Historic Town and Park without paying our event admission fee. Your unacceptable behavior is documented by multiple witnesses and captured on our video. My unacceptable behavior, which is basically walking up the street. And all they have to say is unacceptable behavior. Whatever that means. It's just paint a brush on something. Therefore, effective immediately, you are formally banned from entering the properties under Barkerville Heritage Trust Management. These properties include Cottonwood Historic Park, Barkerville, The decision has been made in accordance with the safety policies of our establishment and is non-negotiable. What's funny is I'm not the only one in town who's got this letter. This is going around. The mayor of Wells is not allowed in Barkerville, and he used to be the CEO of the place. He ran the place for years, and everyone loved working for him. That's what's going on when you come to Barkerville. That's my Tourism Wells shout out to boycott Barkerville. Thank you very much, everybody. I've said my piece for today.
So my question is there any kind of like legal recourse here, or is there any kind of oversight board?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to hear about it if they haven't already, because it's not just me. This is like a behavior that's now the people in Wells who aren't involved with Barkerville don't want to go to the place anyways. It's hostile. It's hostile what's going on here. And this town was the best place to live in BC. All these outsiders move in and they should just go back to being yuppies in the city somewhere else because we don't need them around here.
Yeah, I mean,
what made Barkerville what it is because it's a historic town that's taken back to the 1800s, and everybody dresses in costume and works there. Like, I mean, the town has been made up this way, but all of those people live in Wells, the people who work there. Now, the people in Wells, anybody who is not actually going to wear a costume is not allowed to go in there unless they pretend they're tourists.
Unless they pay, which was never the deal.
So this is like a frontier version of Disneyland, or without the
It
rides?
wants to be now. That's what they're treating it like, and that's not what it was. It was a historic park.
Yeah, I think the vision there is a bit off. Can you vote the CEO out, or is there some kind of?
I'm fighting her.
Yeah.
Straight up. I'm not letting this go. I got a great. I don't vote conservative, but I had a great time with conservative. He's going to be conservative candidate for BC MLA for the Caribou. His name's Sheldon Clare. He's a very good guy. Very good guy, actually. In fact, some of my very far leftist friends go, "Oh, you met Sheldon? He's a pretty good guy, actually." He's like, "Yeah, I thought so too." And I told Sheldon because he's a placer miner. You know, we're people who mined. I've worked mining. This is what we do in the valley. I don't do it anymore. I've left town to become a firefighter because I could sense starting years ago already how bad things were turning here, right? So we got this divisions going on, and people are mad. I speak out about being banned for life from a provincial park with no recourse. You know, it's non-negotiable, and suddenly my name's getting thrown around for stealing 40 cords of wood from the community forest, something I would never consider doing. You know, this is so you get an idea. There's some toxic things going on in the middle of cabin fever wells this winter, and it's been building up for a while. And some people need to lose their jobs, and some people need to know that Barkerville is not acting like a good employer right now.
Yeah, sounds like someone has it in for you, wants you out of there, you know?
Or a friend of the community. And it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's not just me. Like our own mayor, who used to be the CEO of Barkerville.
And that means not even Brooks Bennett's hockey team is allowed in there.
Not even Brooks Bennett's hockey team will be allowed in there soon. Nobody. You know, but these places require people. They require people. But you know what? We know one of the complaints I heard from workers last year was they've had their hours reduced and changed, and it messed with people's EI. So people who couldn't even collect proper EI this winter because they had their hours changed. Like, what are people in Wells supposed to do in the middle of the winter if the main employer for most people doesn't help them get EI after a full season? You know, it's of course the businesses are unhappy because people in Wells used to walk up the street to go to the Chinese restaurant to have Chinese food. I used to go to the house hotel to have lunch. Used to bring my kids to the candy shop, walk up the street, go spend $10. They're losing out on money. They're afraid to talk because it's a bully culture, because they'll get a letter something like this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you know what? Maybe next time you want to pick a fight with someone who doesn't have a radio show. Someone who doesn't have a history of activism. I've never been able to tolerate injustice. And when I see it happening in my community, I see how upset people are. I just think, wow. 6 years ago, if you told me this was happening, I would have been like,
how does the saying go? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if it was just about me personally, I'd just say, oh, well, I'm banned from Barkerville. To hell with them.
Yeah.
But it's not just about me.
I mean,
it's a thermometer. I'm a thermometer.
I think you're uniquely positioned to bring this whole thing to light and get it on the airwaves, get it to people who probably don't know about it. And that's not me being an American, but people there in BC, and hopefully the word gets out, and we get the right people looking at it.
This was punishment for me speaking out in the first place last year. And it says non-negotiable. And because punishment is non-negotiable, right? In accordance with our safety policies.
Well, you should have a right to
my unacceptable behavior in front of my child, sure.
You should have a right to plead your case.
My kid was so upset at watching his dad get thrown out at Barkerville Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, things could definitely be handled a lot better. It's like, okay, well, there's probably a misunderstanding here. Let's handle it as adults, So.
Well, you want to hear something even, this is the cherry on the cake, is I'm going to compare this now to another local business. And I'm not trying to pick fights between businesses because I'm sure they don't feel that way about each other. But I went to Troll Ski Hill, and I actually had my EI come in. I'm going to bring my kids, my ex-wife. We're all going to go skiing. So we did. And always, whatever pants I'm wearing, I just have to reach in my left pocket, and there'll be a bank card there, right? But I throw on the ski pants, and then I'm standing there, and I go to pay, and I'm like, oh, I don't have my bank card on me. And the lady at the booth at the Troll says, oh, hey, Joey, well, I'll write it down. And, if you can get us back sometime. I was like, no, I actually have money now. Like, don't do this. And my ex-wife's like, just email me the money later. I was like, okay, fine. But they're willing to lose $100 over nothing. They're just, oh, no problem. We'll write it down. That wasn't at Christmas time. Just go ski with your kids, Joey. That's what Troll Ski Hill is. That's what community was used to be like in the valley as a whole. We had each other's backs. It wasn't a corporate environment.
It's good to be reminded of that, at least, in the face of all this other, crap going on. So,
yeah, that and then just who stood up and defended me at I don't know what meetings it was. It was a community forest meeting or it was an official town hall meeting. But these people were arguing. Joey must be the one stealing 40 cords of wood. And I heard that. And I just like crack. And I go, I walk into town hall and I sit there with Auntie Angie in the office. And I say, am I allowed to go use the gym? Am I still the firefighter gym pass? I don't know what's real in this town anymore. What are people saying about me stealing wood? She's like, and then Angie tells me, oh, well, Jen defended you, counselor, and Josh did, and these people said, and they actually got quite upset at the people accusing. Anyways, and then you hear that afterwards, and you go, still have a place here, I guess. That's the middle of winter in a mountain town.
Maybe your calling now is politics, like local politics.
No. See, in this building is Josh Trotter Warner, and he's a counselor for the town of Wells. He's, and Josh, who, if I was out getting firewood, he'd be with me.
Yeah,
we live together. Josh, who's an engineer, a mad scientist. He's a very brilliant person. He's the politician, right? He's good at that. He's not good at being a people person. Maybe I am more than he is, but he's good at writing down tasks in point form and achieving them, which I'm not.
He's got the head on his shoulders, and you got the mouse.
Yeah.
But apparently you're good at stealing 40 quarts of firewood without being seen.
Yeah, I'll go do the muscle work. After I got thinking about it, I was like, I guess I'm the only one man enough around here to take 40 cords of wood by himself. I guess that's a compliment or something.
Like the logistics of that don't even pass the sniff test either. I used to cut wood with my dad, and 1 quart of wood had me freaking beat. I was a kid, splitting 1 quart of wood is a lot of work. Heck, 40 quarts of wood, loading that into how many truckloads, and trying to get him out of there, it would be something else.
Here to break up my cabin fever episode of making war against. Here's Brandon Hauk. He's in Alberta. He's in Calgary. He's at a Calgary Flames game. He's just showed up, and his cheeks are very rosy. Hi, Brandon. He's pounding
Hey,
it.
Brandon, how's it
Before he
going?
talks, he's pounding it so that he doesn't have it on TV.
You're at the hockey
Brandon?
game.
You're muted though, Brandon.
How many hockey beers did you drink?
Brandon, hi. Thank
You better be
you.
at least
Breathe.
better be at least 10
Breathe
beers in.
between sips, Brandon. Breathe and say your name.
Brandon, you're on mute again. The Ginger Gem is having difficulty working his mute button tonight, but that's a
He is,
byproduct of hockey.
He's very happy.
He has gotten one hockey to the face this evening.
He took a puck to the face.
Can
That's
you
why
hear
he's
us,
red.
Brandon Hauk?
Still
You
on
have to
mute,
press
bud.
unmute. Brandon,
Brandon-
you have to press you have to unmute.
You're on mute.
Okay, so for anyone watching this at home, panel view would be so much better. But no, we don't have that. We have this.
Well, okay.
Brandon,
I
can
can
you?
do that. I guess I just don't.
hear it today, but we're in the waiting for period number 3.
Mm.
Okay.
Who's winning, Brandon? Well, it's good to see your face at least.
Brandon is feeling the energy from the game. He's having a great time with his dad.
His face matches his shirt and his hair. Right
I take it
now.
back.
Very red.
He's definitely having more fun than us right now.
I think so.
Our Ginger Gem is always having a great time. He just exudes energy. It's weird. Even when he's quiet and slow moving like molasses, he's still a weird little sparkly rainbow and
Yeah,
red.
Look at him go there. He's really having fun.
So
Unmute
Brandon and
yourself,
I
you
were-
ginger jerk.
So Brandon and I were talking about a little bit on social media about the that Arctic front that's coming into Alberta this weekend. This, I think Sunday. It's supposed to drop temperatures there in Brooks from about +10 down to -14 in one day.
Can you hear anything, Brandon? I don't think you can hear anything.
And
Well,
once
there
again,
you go.
he's on mute.
There's your Western Canada weather report with Brandon Hauk at the Calgary Flames game, and he's really enjoying himself there. That's what he's doing. That's excellent. Excellent work, Brandon. Great reporting from Calgary there.
Mhm.
I guess we could find out what the score is without him. Hard to ask Brandon questions because he can't hear. It's 2-1 right now. Calgary is beating Boston. It's the end of the second period. Brandon's dad's a Boston fan, so that's always difficult for anybody to accept.
Brandon's
Well-
still technically here. We just can't hear him. So on panel view, what we're seeing is Brandon having difficulty. He's fighting gravity at the moment. He's really into the game and his time with his dad.
Are we going to be allowed to show the image
No.
of him? Ah,
Well, I mean, the current one where we're kind of looking up his nose, yes. But
but not the one with the beer in his mouth?
no, we cannot. No, Brandon's really glued to that.
So that's
Awesome
why I had it
souvenir.
on. That's why I had it on panel view because
Because you always have it on panel. You always have it on the solo view.
yeah, it's nice. I started that because originally it just if I put everyone's thing up at the same time, my computer would go, internet would go. That's all. And now internet's so much better. 3 years later, who would have known? Who would have known? So anyways, that's mostly the show for this week. I'm sorry that I took so long to kind of. I was like, you know what? I kind of just hit that moment where I was like, I'm going to open the letter the other day. I spent months just kind of looking at it, sitting there. I was like, I know it says I'm banned from the park. I know it says that. And then finally I opened it and it's like, it doesn't say that. And just to process, I was like, we got no Brandon this week. Maybe it's time I just talk about this just a little bit, spread kind of just a glimpse into what's going on here. And I'm sure a lot of small towns can relate. But this has been a very positive place to live for a long time. Okay, who's got something to say?
I found some interesting news you can use. I did post it in the chat earlier. I'll try to keep it family friendly. Apparently, a peer-reviewed paper came through about rat genitalia, and someone had used a AI image of a very large rat phallus on the paper. And apparently, it's not anatomically correct, the AI depiction, but it passed peer review, which kind of begs the question: how effective is peer review? Or at least in this case, it wasn't very effective to be able to get that through. So I don't know.
AI really
I don't feel
struggles
so
with
bad.
a lot of things. Like AI has difficulty with a lot of details of things. Like AI hands
Yep.
specifically are always weird. They're always just really messed up. But when it comes to peer review of a lot of scientific based stuff, there's so much enthusiasm to be part of a new discovery and to be part of, I guess, the winning team. It's a weird kind of psychological phenomenon where everyone kind of wants to be right. And so the enthusiasm to come to the same result and to agree and to be one of the first to agree and to say, yes, I recreated that. That's correct. There's a certain amount of high fives that go with that. And so, yeah, a lot of peer review stuff. If when
Maybe
that
there's
information of who reviewed it and how the reviews were actually done, a lot of it actually doesn't hold up. That doesn't
Maybe
mean
there's a
dismiss it all
simpler
or challenge it all, but there is
Maybe
a lot
no one
of
just
that
wanted to
that is
look
the
at the
thing.
rat genitalia. They're just like, don't look at
I mean,
it.
it was very
Weird
impressive.
looking.
I was almost. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
saw
almost-
that.
it almost made me jealous. The size of that. But think back to the peer review aspect. It's almost like a little bit of a circle jerk of sorts. I mean,
It is.
family friendly,
is.
but and that calls into question the whole point of peer review is not just the validation of the scientific method and the process used, but
Yeah.
also you may have overlooked something, or it's to avoid groupthink, because
Yep.
if science is dictated by groupthink and especially by politics, then we've deviated completely from the scientific method into a territory where it doesn't even look like science. It's not even, this is politics now, and none of us want that. We shouldn't be spending public money on that and calling it science. Obviously, that's my little soapbox,
But
So.
yeah, and a part of why that that consensus is so easy to reach is because that also by having the results replicated, whether it's valid or not, also can lead to more funding being provided for more research to expand research. So sometimes when there's not quite enough funding to do what needs to be done, those results will be fabricated to get the funding with the
Yep.
solid belief that it will be done. And
Yep.
I mean, the ethics of that are a whole other thing. Like, it's just,
Sure.
it's
Sure.
not correct, but like, there's a lot of reasons why it happens. And again, that doesn't mean dismiss everything or, whatever. There's a lot of valid stuff that comes out. But as the AI rat bits kind of highlighted, this is an area
Yeah.
where, there is room for error, we'll say.
What do you
think
think
it's
the
fine
chances are that Brandon gets kicked out of the game tonight? Like, he gets a letter like this or something. Dear Brandon Hauk, you were banned from, you drank too much. You're now banned from Saddle Dome.
No, Brandon's snacking on hockey food now. I
And,
don't know what that is, but it looks like
non-negotiable,
whipping
Brandon.
cream.
I mean, I'm sure there's people there that could drink.
They're playing against the
Brandon
Boston
under the
Bruins,
table.
that Tim Thomas's former team.
The Boston Bruins is one of the teams I hate the most in hockey history.
Brandon, what are you eating?
I believe it was chicken. I spent some time looking.
Nope.
It looks like he's dipping chicken in some kind of a sauce and getting the sauce like on his face.
It's a bowl of whipping cream. Brandon, are you eating a bowl of whipping cream? Very chewy whipping cream.
If you want to follow me on social media, my Blue Sky is at Frankie MacD. My Twitter is at Frankie MacD. My link tree is Frankie MacDonald. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD984. My TikTok is FrankieDonald984. My Clapper is FrankieDonald984. My Twitch is FrankieDonald984. My Snapchat is FrankieMacDon. My YouTube channel is Docs Wolves, and my LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. Best of luck to you. I'm Frankie Donald. You're listening to Joey Only Show Comedeorological Weather Report every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic.
Yeah, that's right. You're hearing us on C4 88.7 FM in Prince George, CKW in I already screwed it up. In Winnipeg and CFBX, Kamloops, and Rogers Television. Thank you, Rogers Television, for still having us on.
That's the show.
Right. That's the show. And on Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube channel. And you can find all of us on the internet. You can find Frankie MacDonald on YouTube, Dogs and Wolves, Imogen Cookie Bailey, Imogen.in out there. And Chris Kelly, I don't know if he's got a website or anything like that, but you might find him if you're out in Portland. And speaking of Portland, hi, Brian. I see that you're watching the live stream right now. And shout out to Portland Weather Uncensored. Thank you for sending me your brilliant friends. And, you know, it's great because now we have Chris and Mark showing up, and that means we don't need Brian so much.
Brian's not actually a meteorologist either, so good to have a meteorologist.
I do love when he's on the show. It's hard to get him on, though. It's really hard to.
Yeah,
he's shy.
He's pretty busy. He's a good guy, though.
He's hilarious. Very hilarious. Hi, Mark. When you see the show, I hope you have him come on next week again. And Joe Stover and all our friends and Olivier. We got all the panel that's just not here. Hope they come back someday. We could use that. Okay, that's the show this week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Who'd so?
Oh,
Frankie?
8:01 before Frankie left.
I have to cut things, so I needed to expand the time out as long as we could.
Yeah, I feel like you probably need like an extra 5 to 10 minutes, so you kind of have some extra stuff you can pad places, you know. But that was a good show. I'm glad I could come on today. I'm kind of getting over a bit of a cold, so I've been taking a couple days off work. So I'm ready to get back in the saddle tomorrow and hopefully make it for a productive Friday at least. So
yeah, I got the computer working good again, thanks to Josh and some donations that came in. I got a hard drive that was donated that's really increased my ability to actually get things done on the computer. So last week's editing went smooth, and I was done by like 11:30 in the morning. It was so good. It was so good. So I'm hoping for that.
How many hours of editing does a typical episode take?
It should be like 2 at most.
That's impressive, though.
Because I mean, mostly everything's done. I just got to kind of watch through, cut out some gaps, sometimes add a little filler for time.
How long did it take you to get used to hearing your own voice? Because I mean, I watch myself on here, and I'm not used to hearing my own voice, like from a third, like as a third person. So it's kind of unsettling at first until you get used to your own voice, I guess, because it's usually I hear it in my head, you know, and it's not the same thing. So
well, fair enough. I mean, I've been doing radio since 2002 or 3.
You did a lot of music recording too, Johnny.
Did a lot of music recording. I played 2,000 shows across Canada, traveling around playing music, you know, before I kind of settled down. And, you know, my outlaw band, you know, and how does the country singer want his voice in the mic? Hot. I want to hear my voice.
Yeah.
When I sing, you know. And 9 years at Co-op Radio, running sound resistance there, you know, like spent a lot of my life doing TV, radio things, interviews, and you know, when I was young, I was often the spokesperson, one of the spokespeople when we had sort of activist things that would happen, you know,
Sure.
Anti-Poverty Committee and Tenant Action Group and blah, blah, blah. They'd send me at it because I could just on my feet go.
Well, it's one of those interesting things because you usually hear your own voice in your head, so that's normal to you. But then you know everyone else hears your voice, you know, like you're hearing it when you listen to the show. So it's like to them it's normal, and I guess it's just kind of it trips me out personally initially because I haven't been on the radio or whatever much in my life, So it's kind of an interesting, I guess, a little bit of introspection and on my part, I guess there. So
Yeah, it's not so bad, It's like it's just a voice.
yeah,
Sometimes people tell me you got a good voice for radio. Like, I don't know, just talk.
yeah. Well, it's the saying is you got a face for radio, which means that it's
Yes.
sort of a subtle insult, I guess. But
No, I
usually I'm like, I got a face for radio,
I fully agree. Yeah.
So,
Right.
but anyways, we didn't get around to talking about Winnipeg's weather, and I didn't even look at the forecast there before I jumped on. So
Yeah, we kind of skipped Winnipeg this week, and then I went on a tirade about how mad I am at the politics in my town.
the Winnipegians, or whatever the name is for someone that lives in Winnipeg, are probably unhappy that we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time.
Yeah. I sat here watching this whole damn show and nobody talked about what Winnipeg's going to be like next week.
No one really mentioned what Prince
I'm
George
boycotting Comedeorological
like.
report.
The good people at University of Winnipeg radio station have, I think they're fans of the show. I think our time slot's secure. It's.
Well, yeah. I'm just
when I left for fire, when fire season hit, and I was like, suddenly, I was like, I can't do a show tomorrow. Sorry, I'm gone. They're like, oh, okay, let us know when you can again. Most shows have like an end date for the season. Well, after this,
Sure.
I was just like, sorry, no shows anymore. Hope you give us radio slot when I'm back. Yeah, no problem. So they're pretty good about it. I think they're fans of Frankie, and we occasionally have Joe Stover on, and we'll show at their fun drive and stuff, and we doing our best. I'd like to be on more stations.
Well, so we got community radio down here. Like, I'll see what kind of options we have in Portland, and it might be worth reaching out. Or I don't have any connections in the local radio community. I'll discuss it with Mark, and maybe we can make something happen down here.
It'd be sick, because what more audience gives you is just more. It's like a bigger palette to work with, right? It means we'll get more people wanting to get involved. It's when you get 5 stations who are on, and you're like, oh wow, they're on 5 stations. Maybe we should get them too.
Sure.
Now, is there any money in it? No. Is there any glory in it? No.
Yeah. No.
This
would have
does
to be.
It mean you can do more though in the world, make more connections, meet more people, and sure, yeah, more audience, please.
Well, Frankie has quite a following here in Portland because of Brian's group, Portland Weather Uncensored. He's been on there pretty often, and we share his videos as we find him and stuff. And it's kind of interesting because as far as in the States, maybe with the exception of maybe Maine or something, we're probably one of the hot spots for as far as Frankie popularity and people who know about Frankie McDonald outside of Canada. So that's kind of neat, I think. And Brian and some of the other weather enthusiasts here have been a big part of that. So
he's really big in Texas too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they love him down in Texas. Yeah, occasionally I've seen things over the years with Frankie's. He's got big fans, and
I always try to get if he says to get Chinese food, I always try to at least get something from the frozen food aisle, at least at a minimum.
Speaking of that, I've not eaten yet. It's 8:08, and I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night here. I gotta put the kiddo to bed. So
I've never been good at eating before shows, ever. Whether it was concert or whatever, just never been good at like, I'm going to sit down and eat food now before it's like, no thanks.
Sometimes it's better to handle stuff on a more of an empty stomach, and if you're the kind of person that gets like, and you kind of knot in your stomach from being in front of a lot of people, or you probably not because you've done it a lot. But like, if I'm in front of a lot of people, I probably would rather, I'm more comfortable not having just eaten, so.
Yeah, and I think part of it's like my teeth aren't great, so like a lot of things I go to cook just like are hard to eat as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun. That stuff's getting stuck in there all the time. It's like I don't want to eat anymore.
Yeah.
Why do I have to keep eating? Like,
You're like,
I'm
give it to me
a
as
fully
like
grown man,
give it to me as a freaking milkshake or something, you know?
you know, and then it's like, oh, I'm hungry again. I already ate today. Why am I hungry again? And it's not like when I was in my 20s, I was like, give me 5 plates. Let's go. This is fun. Yeah.
Put it down.
Tastes
Yeah.
so good.
Yep.
I was just like, oh, I guess I got to eat again.
We need to have a video where you're eating at the Quinnell McDonald's or not McDonald's, but the A&W. One of these days. And
Yeah,
we essentially do the show from the freaking A&W. Obviously, let them know first that we're going to be there. You're going to be there for an hour, but like that would be kind of cool. Change locations up a little bit, you know.
They don't have the internet quality, I don't think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I just on my phone here, so which is pretty good, I think. So
in order for me to like actually, you know, set up a computer and reliably run.
You guys have Starlink out there or no?
No,
I have Starlink here.
I forget what the situation is in Wales now. Like TELUS bought out ABC Communications, and
okay,
and we have better internet now.
Well, it's Comcast down here, and I think I got about 300 megabits per second. So you know, it's okay. Like I could get 1,000 megabits. I could get gigabit if I wanted to, but I don't want to spend $200 a month on internet. You know.
God bless ABC for all the years of internet that it gave to small communities in the Cariboo and places that you know.
Yeah.
They gave us a lot of years here too, and then when TELUS took over, they basically phased them out. And yet there isn't good enough cell service for us to substitute it with cell service, so it's terrible. So everybody had to go Starlink.
Whereas here we had a full new setup put in that with a big new. Everyone's got better internet, faster upload, faster downloads.
Yeah, you're always.
It used to take me, if I made an episode of the show, it used to take me like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours to upload it.
Wow.
You know, as opposed to like the 8 minutes it takes now.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And you remember the dial-up days where you just listen to the little tone and hoping that you can, or like watching a photo download and it's like one pixel, one line of pixels at a time, you know, and you gotta wait, 10 more seconds or 20 more seconds for the next line of pixels, you know.
Takes you all day just to see those titties.
Yep. It's like, man, yeah. Back to the old magazine, huh?
I'm busted. All right. I'm gonna go find something. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being on the show. We gotta keep it on the DL because my wife can hear. So thanks for listening to me rant about Barkerville tonight.
Nice.
I needed to get that off my chest a little. I've been sitting on it for a while.
Nice.
And just
good to hear.
Yeah. Don't put up with toxic shit in your fucking towns.
Well, I guess I just thought, like up in Canada, there's always that whole stereotype down here in America that Canadians are all very polite. They settle things like they apologize profusely for any perceived slight, all that stuff, and it's kind of interesting to see that stereotypes doesn't quite.
Well, what these people are passive aggressive bullies who hide behind, and I say this, granted that I have woke politics. There's something a little bit different, they're hiding behind it. I don't want to elaborate on that. You can probably use your imagination.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be really careful of what you say because then they'll cry foul. And
True.
The spirit of what they are, the oppressors, these people. That's the problem. They use that passive aggressive to help keep people silent.
You could argue a lot of times that the anti-fascists become the fascists once they have the power because anyone that wants power honestly shouldn't be allowed near it because
that's the thing is anti-fascists that's now being unfascist is not the same as being anti-fascist, right?
True.
I am an anti-fascist. I'm not just not fascist I am against fascist behaviors in principle. I'm against authoritarian. I came and lived in a town like this because I don't want to live in a world like that.
Yeah.
And that world that's like that, since the CEO has come in, has begun to corrupt here in a way that's It's just sad. Like Barkerville is where British Columbia as a province started. You know, this isn't, it's a provincial, it's one of those really important things in the province of BC. But for those of us who live in the valley here, it's like, it's not just my children's heritage. It's here. This is us. We still live here.
Yeah, it's not just like a ghost. It's not just a ghost town or a open air museum. It's your.
And the people who are banned. It's like the fact that I responded to 50 false fire alarms there, dressed in full gear with the fire truck lights blaring. That doesn't earn me very much credit or whatever. Anytime I volunteer for an event there, whatever, there's people there who worked for 10, 20 years who are now banned from going in the park.
Yeah, someone's really tripping hard on the power there.
Yeah, and you know what happens is the more you tighten your grip, the more systems squeeze through your fingers, Tarkin.
And that's why I hope that the right person or people can hear about this, and then the people can actually do something about it. Obviously, there's somebody out there that can do something about this. Who has the power to do something about this? Fire the CEO, or at least get through to them that, like, hey, this behavior is not okay.
It starts with enough people. The grumbling has to start. The talking has to begin.
Yeah,
people are afraid to speak. That's what happens in small towns. My friends who are in the media, locally, Quesnel Observer, friends who are in the media, even them, I'm like, I've told them, here's the story. I don't expect that you're going to want to pursue the story because it'll result in you getting banned from Barkerville.
Yeah.
But maybe next time they want your help, understand that this ain't the same. They got the nice smiles, and we're Barkerville Heritage Trust.
Well, and it sounds like Barkerville
stabbing you in the neck.
Barkerville is kind of the heritage of all British Columbians and frankly all Canadians. Considering the historical importance, and if we have an inept CEO, we don't want to see Barkerville become basically in shambles because of their inept management. And that's you can't replace Barkerville. Like, I assume you can't. Given the history and the uniqueness of it, it's a one of a kind. So you really can't afford to have someone like her running things into the ground because it's irreplaceable.
Because it will be a ghost town.
Well, there won't be a Barkerville if all the roofs cave in and stuff catches fire or whatnot because of her ineptitude. Then the place burns down. Or you can't replace it, so.
Whether that kind of thing happens or not, there's been buildings that have been damaged that shouldn't have been. That cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well,
whether that's is that every building? No, of course not. But it's again a symptom of the general culture of the place right now. They wouldn't hand out snow removal contracts to locals in Wells without some fussy process until their buildings got damaged. Like, oh, I guess we should do what we've always done and hire locals to come shovel our roofs. But we don't want to do that because we don't like those people anymore.
Yeah,
it's funny because the kind of people they're banning are the kind of people who back in 1860 were the ones building Barkerville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The working class, the miners,
Yeah.
Tavern workers, whatever, saloon workers, whatever, yeah.
The only unacceptable thing I did was when, because Carrie Chard took me right to the edge of the parking lot. And as I drove out, she said, "Thank you, Joey." And I said, "Fuck off, Carrie."
Well, she deserved that and more, so.
Yeah, I guess that's my unacceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And
I wish
and I meant it. I meant it.
Yeah.
A lot. I didn't shout it. I kind of said it like I just did. Fuck off, Carrie.
Yeah.
Felt good. Man, sit here and stew on it. Like, everyone, thank you.
When someone takes away one of the big reasons to live somewhere, like, obviously, having access to all that area. It's not just Barkerville, I assume. It's also the forest and mountains around it.
Yeah, I'm sure if I tried to go up, because even though it's a rite of passageway to go through the town to go up to Groundhog Mountain, I'm sure if I tried to do that, it would be, I don't know. The one guy, Tim, who tried to do that, got thrown in jail.
Do they have a gate? Do they have like a gate and everything?
I don't know
up
how
front?
many times Officer Cody's going to throw people in jail before he goes, "Hey, this ain't right."
Yeah.
It's easy when you can kind of look at someone who's, on the social scale down there, like, "Oh, he got thrown in jail, huh? That guy, eh?" And realize, like, no, that's Barkerville is picking on people.
Sure.
And kicking them when they're down too.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do an expose or someone will pick this up, and I think enough people are going to get their feathers ruffled. It's not just you. So.
Wait till I use my frontage property here to put up the boycott Barkerville sign.
Yeah, you should read about
my private property.
You should read about the dude. Okay, this is something you check out after we're done with the stream here. You should check out the Killdozer in Granby, Colorado. This was
I'm well aware of the Killdozer guy.
Okay. So I'm preaching the choir then.
We haven't got that far yet.
This almost feels like you're gonna put together or somebody's gonna put together like a freaking armored bulldozer and just freaking go on a rampage,
But it's always been my backup plan. If all else fails, I could become a Killdozer guy.
You know what the guy said? He's like, I was always reasonable until I was forced to be unreasonable. I was always willing to be reasonable until I was forced to be unreasonable.
I forgot what happened, but he got screwed over, that guy.
Well, he died because he ended
I
up
mean, like before he went Killdozer crazy.
Yeah. Well,
he got screwed over. And, it's sort of similar kind of drama.
Yeah, there was like a cement plant. He bought a lot, and originally he had like an easement to get to his lot, and they cut off his easement, so he basically didn't even have any way to get to his house. And the local courts or law enforcement were basically like turning a blind eye to it because the cement plant was obviously a lot more powerful, lobby, etc. This was in Colorado, so not the same laws or rights that you have in BC, but yeah, I mean, it's just a testament to, when you're out of luck, when you're out of options, you have to be unreasonable, I guess, if your fundamental rights.
When you push people too far, they will eventually bend. I mean, that's not, they will eventually snap back.
Sure.
And that's not just like, that's a matter of historical fact.
I mean, if you guys all
step on people long enough, a revolution happens.
If you guys all show up with like, I don't know, with like, spears and freaking torches in the front of Barkerville, like get enough people there that they're gonna back down because, what are they gonna do? So it's also about like having the numbers to.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine a direct action? Camp out in front and be like, nope, you're not opening.
Probably not in February, but I think as it gets warmer, that's not actually a bad idea if that's the only way you can get the point across.
Oh, direct action works.
Yeah,
it always does. Right.
And you can probably get people to come up from Vancouver, Victoria, etc., maybe even the States to help you out.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You fuck with the craziest guy in town.
Engine overhaul on the front driveway so nobody can get past.
Yeah, you block the road with your vehicles.
That's probably the best thing. I mean, you guys
shut her down.
You guys had the big truck caravan, didn't you, into Ottawa? Obviously, the politics of those guys is you probably
get the Freedom Convoy people. No.
But like
they can't come.
But the point there was that if you're going to make it harder for us to do our jobs, we're going to bring our grievances to you guys in Ottawa or in Washington D.C. or wherever, because we had the same thing in the U.S. Where there were enough trucks to completely circle Washington D.C. bumper to bumper on the Beltway. And that's about 50 miles. So there's 50 miles worth of semi trucks. Or
and all
80
for
kilometers.
Nothing. Imagine if it got used.
Well, at that point we had Trump in office, so they got their point across to a degree, but like And also America is considerably more conservative than Canada.
Yeah, he just kissed their butts.
So
and they're like, right on.
But I don't think you can. I think the best thing to do when someone has a grievance is try to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand where they're coming from. You don't have to agree with them, but understanding where they come from, I think not only does it allow you to potentially empathize and maybe you missed something in their grievance, but also if you're going to counter their grievance, you need to understand their grievance, I guess, is where I'm coming from. So, and I'm not saying you have to agree with them. I'm just saying that it's better than just plugging your ears and saying, well, that's not right because blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get around. You're not going to be able to convince somebody of your position if you don't, at least if you just call them wrong all the time. You have to actually find the common ground. You have to find the common ground, which is, it may be as simple as you're both Canadians, but
I think that's why I took so long to say anything. This is like a year in the making.
Yeah.
Me just saying enough. I'm going to fucking start talking.
I think that's what you got to do. I think that, sunlight's the best disinfectant, as they say.
I thought being nice and maybe it would go away. No, banned for life.
Well, definitely let me know what happens, going forward here. So
yeah, it'll be slow. It'll be a grind.
And I would say don't let it sour your mood and ruin your life either. Like there's a lot of things to love about, especially up there. I mean, you're in God's country with all the beauty and all the stuff that up there, and so
I think just the idea that people will have heard on the radio and on TV. There's something not right at Barkerville. That's good for now.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
All right. Well, good luck.
I remember saying at the time, like, show some respect. I'm a public figure. I fucking talk. People will listen.
Yeah.
And I've really tried not to talk until I heard more bitching in the community this week. And I went, I'm going to go and open that letter and see if that's what it says in my letter too.
Yep. All right. I wish you best of luck. I'm going to put the kiddo to bed here. So.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go eat some food.